And I will tell you, when you do make a bad loan,
yeah,
it is a nightmare. It takes at least a year to get out of the thing.
Have you ever had an idea that was so clear it was like a 3D movie? Have you ever told a friend about the idea and they told you, wow, if you could only make that into a business, you would be rich? Sound familiar? Welcome to Knowledge to Currency. I'm your host, Senator Porter, with my co-host, Roosevelt Williams III, and we're here to help you take action. This is free information. We only ask one thing: build a strong foundation and mindset. We have insight to help you get started. Most of us just need a push. What's happening, everybody? Episode 50. I didn't think we'd make it, Roosevelt.
We made it, brother.
Knowledge to Currency. I'm your host, Senator Porter. And you are?
Roosevelt Williams III.
And we like to let you know that knowledge is power and currency is king. And today, on the 50th episode, we have our special guest, Rancho Ted.
Right on, man. 50th, huh?
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Jeez.
It's been over a year now going down this journey, so it's exciting because this was one of the goals that I wanted to make. So we made the goal, so that's dope.
Right on, man.
Yeah, so Rancho Ted, first off, a lot of people may not know you're pretty famous in San Diego.
Just maybe in the real estate world, but that's about it.
Yeah, I've seen you on bus stops and everything, man. Also on social media.
Grocery receipts, too.
Absolutely.
Very nice.
And I would like to talk about you and your business now. You are a hard money lender, right?
Yep, correct.
And before, I mean, how long you been a hard money lender? I've never asked that question before.
Well, actually, you know, my buddies were doing it in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was coaching soccer at the time and couldn't commit fully. I ended up being a mortgage broker.
Okay.
And did that for 17 years. In 2008, when the market crashed, you know, the lending gets so difficult, it became no longer a fun job. It was too, there was no common sense. That's what I always tell people about conventional lending. If something small happens, you still can't get the loan because your FICO's.
Sure.
Whatever. But, so I had like 30 loans and 6 closed, and all over the place, man. It was so challenging. So I decided that I didn't enjoy it anymore. I was going to switch into hard money. Yeah.
So conventional lender would be if you went to the bank or your credit union, you go to them, they borrow money from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, or Ginnie Mae, and those are usually the 3 investors. Or they may use their own money, but not very often. Usually they do that if it's called a jumbo loan, where it's over the conforming limits. But mostly banks borrow that money from those investors. And then those investors give them a set of rules, but then the banks have overlays, which is their own set of rules. So you can go online, you can look up the guidelines for a particular product, and the actual product will say that you qualify, but that bank could say, well, no. Based on the amount of deposits that you put in the bank, have been too many cash deposits, or your credit score is under 620, so we can't help you, even though the actual investor that they borrowed the money from has different guidelines. So that's what he means by that. So as the hard money lender, maybe kind of explain that. What is a hard money lender for people that don't know?
Sure. It is somebody who gets private money or uses it through a private fund to lend to people when banks can't, and there's a lot of different situations that people need the money, and the first question I get is, hey, I got a situation, can you help me out? And it may be need to close in 3 to 5 days, you know. Bank cannot turn that around, and in general, if it's a purchase, it's not that hard.
Okay.
That's one example. You get people from outside the country that don't have credit or income.
Okay.
They move here and they're not getting a loan through a bank. There are some programs out there, but private money is more about equity and common sense. And in general, they're pretty easy loans for us to do, as long as it's the key is loan to value. So 30% down is the magic number.
Okay.
Buy something for $1 million, you put down 300, we'll lend you 700.
Okay.
And the more you put down, the easier it gets. You know, it's all about protecting your money, and equity will do that for you. So that's really the key.
So, as an example, if somebody were to use you, would it be a situation where they maybe want to do improvements to the house and they don't have any money, but they maybe can't verify how much they make, like they may not report as much to the government because they want to save on taxes?
Sure.
Okay.
It's a good question. I have one right now.
Okay.
Person wants to fix up their property,
Mm-hmm.
and it's actually going to be a second. They have like a $500,000 first.
Okay.
They want like $200,000. The value's $2 million.
Sure.
But they want to try to sell for like 2.5. So they're going to put 200. The credit is okay at best.
Right.
You can't prove income.
Right.
So, but we're lending on the equity of the property, and we know that they're going to sell the property.
Yep.
So we know that the loan will be paid off within 6 months probably. So anyways, there you go. So they'll fix up the property, and basically you can't qualify with a bank anyway.
So then in that situation, if they were to sell it as is, people come kicking the tires. They'll say, oh, these windows are old, or I don't like the way this kitchen is dated and the bathroom. So they could talk to Rancho Ted, get the money required, get a designer to come make it look spanking new, and then they can get more money at the end.
Yep. We did another one recently for a guy whose wife didn't like the kitchen, so we lent him $200,000.
Nice.
It's amazing how much it costs to fix a house, man.
Oh yeah, it's not cheap.
But he ended up using $200 to fix it all up, and same situation. But they weren't selling; he just wanted an upgrade and couldn't get a loan through a bank.
So those are your mostly clients either that want to do improvements or maybe from another country. What's like another, I guess, client that, or I guess what would be like your perfect client?
Oh, perfect client. Well, the perfect client's got a lot of equity.
Yeah.
I will tell you what's going on these days is these fix and flippers,
Sure.
A person in my office who has no real estate history is now becoming a fix and flipper with her mom, So I'm getting everybody calling me. And she finally realized what I did because, I didn't know you did fix and flips.
And she works there.
She doesn't work in my company, but she rents another office.
Right.
But the fix and flips are everybody's becoming one.
Okay.
So it's really popular, and you don't really need much experience. It's really finding a good deal, and we kind of do the homework with you to make sure it's a good deal for us. Otherwise, we wouldn't land. But you can put down 15%, and we'll give you 100% of the construction costs. And as long as the after repair value's there when it's finished. So that's happening a lot. So everybody's fix and flipping, and it could be your cousin that's calling you next or calling me next.
And you don't only do business in San Diego; you do it all around the country, correct?
Correct. Yes. I will tell you though, loan amounts
change.
Depending
on the zip code and stuff.
Yeah, actually in Florida, I got two deals. They're all like 150, 300.
Wow.
And over here, everything's 800, 700 or 800 minimum.
At 300 is like a ADU.
Yeah. Correct.
You got any questions?
Yeah, I do. First off, it's a combo question. I want to learn how you got the name Rancho Ted, and I also would like to learn the different type of hard money loans you offer.
Sure. Well, Rancho Ted came about when a friend was helping me get on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And so as he was doing, he said, Ted, you need to brand yourself. And I said, because I went through like 6 companies from like 2000 to 2010.
Sure.
Every mortgage company went out of business, so it was always a new business card, new whatever. And, when he said that, I thought, that's a good idea, man, because I'm tired of changing my name every year. And so at the time, I still was doing some conventional, working for a company called Rancho Financial. They were located in Escondido. And I own a ranch. And so he said, well, he's the one who came up to you. Why don't you call yourself Rancho Ted for that reason? And I was like, I said, no way, brother.
You were in the fan.
That is the stupidest thing I ever heard. And I wasn't going to do it.
Right.
And I just can't imagine as a professional company being called Rancho Ted. So my buddy, who's he's a creative guy, and he's actually my marketing guy now.
Nice.
Is Paulie. And yeah, he's like, no, dude, it's good. And I'm thinking, come on, man. How am I going to say it? Calling myself Rancho Ted. He's like, no, it's good. And I says, he convinced me, and I will tell you, it took a couple of years. I was kind of embarrassed, you know. I was like, it was like in small letters, Rancho Ted, you know.
Right.
Until one day, an attorney, a friend of mine, says, dude, you better make sure nobody steals it. And I'm like, what? I'm like, so he actually thought, and when he said that, I thought, oh. And then I started thinking, you know, it's kind of like King Stallman. I don't know if you guys.
Mm-hmm. Bell's Bondsman.
Yeah. So I was thinking, oh, this is kind of like King Stallman. That's kind of where the bus benches come from.
Oh, okay.
You know, because he was doing all his bus benches. And
Nice.
I thought, that's a good idea. So, yeah, once I
Embraced it.
Yeah. And then everything's Rancho Ted, my hat, everything. So it became a lot of fun, actually, and it worked. It works, yeah, mainly because people don't forget it. So
Shout out to Polly.
yeah,
Absolutely. Brandon.
yeah, and my friend Alex, he's came up with the idea.
Oh, Alex as well. Yeah, because I thought about it, like, I don't know the name of the company that you work with. I just know your name.
Yeah,
Like, for sure, always have, like, definitely instinct.
Well, the other thing is, my last name's so difficult that people have just thrown it away, which is great, you know. So everywhere I go, hey, let's get Rancho Ted up here. It's no longer Ted or Ted Brisbillick. Let's get Rancho up here.
Right? That's true. That's definitely true.
Yeah, what are some of the benefits of getting a hard money loan?
The benefits? Well, let's go over. We talked about different types of hard money loans. Yeah, so let's. Man, it's all over the board. You know, one of the cool things about private money is you can cross-collateralize other properties.
Right.
So I'm doing that quite a bit, where somebody's got a house that's free and clear worth, let's just say, $2 million. The lucky dogs, free and clear, and they're looking to buy another property for, let's say, $1.5 million, whatever the number is.
Mm-hmm.
So what we do is we just give them the full amount, give them all the cash to go and purchase, and you cross the other property. So now you have $3.5 million worth of real estate, and you're lending 1.5. You're at less than 50%. So that's one way to make some deals work if you want to purchase what's called a bridge loan. So that's what bridge loans do. They you cross other properties and give them a short-term loan for a few months until they sell the other property, and then they pay you off. So that's one. Ground-up construction. Getting a construction loan is no bargain. And even in the private money world, it's no bargain. That's risky business, man.
Sure.
I did one that took 4 years for it to get done, man.
4 years?
Yeah, man.
In San Diego?
Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess. So I've teamed up with some people that are experts now, and there's a lot of risk in that, so you got to be careful. But we can do the ground-up construction.
Okay.
I have sources for equity lines, which is almost impossible to find in the private money world.
Okay.
And an equity line is a huge, it can help you with flips, I had a guy in Solana Beach. He was like my first equity line. The guy had, these people, $2 million property free and clear.
Mm-hmm.
We gave him $1 million. So now he goes and flips with it, goes and pays cash, finishes it, pays the line off. So he keeps using it, doesn't have to keep getting loans.
Money, and he's using the bank's money, so then he can basically make little payments and keep more money in his pocket.
It's a few ways beside purchases, and we do seconds where obviously people don't want to pay off those first, but they can't qualify for a second. So we have that equity line plus a regular second where it's full amount up front.
And then, so with traditional, they look at credit score, income. They may look at assets.
Yeah.
What's the difference with hard money? What do they mostly look at? Just the property and the equity in the property, and that's it?
Well, again, it's common sense. I love using that when it comes to private money. So you do look at the credit. We look at everybody's credit. We want to know who we're lending to.
Correct.
Well, we do everything we can to find out. I've had 3 bad loans, and
in all this time, only 3?
3, yeah.
Okay.
And they're criminals. But you look at the credit score, and just something about credit. You know, people can run into a problem with a divorce, and somebody doesn't pay, and both get hit with bad credit.
Right.
It doesn't mean they're bad payers.
Right.
Just a situation brought the scores down. Well, that makes sense why the scores are 550 or 560.
Sure.
So it's something like that. If it makes sense, you know, well, it doesn't matter. But if you got somebody who's just really bad, you'll still lend to them, but you'll just lower the loan to value. So instead of doing 70, and you get this guy with, or a woman with incredible, don't want to make all the guys look like they have bad credit. We'll just lower the loan to value. So instead of doing 70%, we'll do 50%.
Okay. So then there's ways you guys will gauge it. You'll say, okay, we'll still give you the money, but
formula.
We'll reduce how much you can get.
Yeah, location is a lot too. You know, location, all different factors. And again, you just weigh it up, common sense. Does this make sense? If it does, then you move forward.
That's right. What are some of the trends you see right now in the real estate market besides quick flips?
Oh, well, I just noticed that values aren't going down.
Right.
It's an amazing thing, and I don't know. I just don't see how they're going to. Everybody's got 2.5% rates.
Right.
Nobody's going to sell those properties because to go and pay 7.
Right.
So the trend really is values staying the same and moving up a little bit, and I don't know. Beside the fix and flippers, man, I don't. Just I've seen maybe a few people trying to get together to buy a property. You know, instead of realizing that one person is not going to be able to afford it.
Right.
You see a group of people starting to work together to buy a property.
Yeah, group economics.
Absolutely.
They're like 25 years old, and I said, that's a brilliant idea, brother.
Smart.
I've been saying that for a while. Just get together with people, and then together you guys can get in the market, because that's the only way I can think of you can qualify.
Yeah, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing in the real estate market?
Well, you know, in our business, it's all about the equity, as I said, and we've been on such a great run.
Nice.
You know, like in 2008 when it crashed, man, it was the biggest nightmare for a hard money lender.
Yeah.
But in this market, it's, you know, if you've made a bad loan, the values go up and they get you out of the trouble.
Yeah.
And so they sell it. So, you know, it's been a good ride, and I don't see it changing anytime soon because of the lack of inventory. So, yeah.
How could one person go ahead, sir?
What advice would you have for an investor in the real estate market today?
Question. So an investor has somebody buying a piece of real estate. Because we should actually talk about investors too. My investors that people could be an investor.
Absolutely. Talk about both.
That's where I was going. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So really good question. You know, what is the biggest challenge? I guess it's just, you know, you got to be sure of the market, man.
Right.
You know, you just don't, as we all know, it's not going to change, and it does, right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I'm predicting it won't, but right. So just can't get caught, man. So if you're flipping, you better get it done.
Know your numbers.
And yeah, well, I'll tell you, we do help out with that to make sure.
Okay.
So that's one thing good for them is making sure it's a good loan.
Sure.
So helps.
So if like, let's say they were like a first time trying to get a flip, they found a property, and they were like, hey, I think this is a deal, and the numbers are all like walkie, you would tell them like,
yeah, listen, man, because I've teamed up with a friend of mine that's just a complete expert, and the knowledge is unreal because you go through so many deals, you know.
So then he could say, hey, for this to work, you gotta have it priced at this, this much for repairs.
There's one out in Palm Spring right now where they want to put a pool in, and he's like, you know, I don't know, you should do the pool, man. It's going to cost you $50,000, and I don't think you're going to get it back. He says, I just did one, so we're trying to it's their call, but we tell them what we see. So
that's good.
Yeah, that's good. No, but we don't want anybody making mistakes, including us. So it's got to be a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, because you're joint invested with them.
Yeah, that's the one thing about private money is you are an adventure with them.
Yeah. So
Because until you get paid off, you're part of it. Because
Sure.
I've got somebody who's not paying right now, and you start, oh boy, what do we got? And we're still trying to figure it out. But yeah, the thing I'd like to talk about a little bit is educating people on being an investor. You know?
Let's talk about that.
Because I'll go to talk to 100 people, and I say, anybody ever do trust deed investing? And they're like, no, maybe one.
Right.
And it's an incredible way to invest your money because you get 10 to 11% on your money.
Wow.
Right now, 10%, 10.5% right now is really the magic number.
Okay.
And you get collateral is the real estate. So, and if you're at a certain loan to value, which we are,
Right.
I mean, you're pretty well protected. It's almost impossible to lose your money, you know?
So then walk us through that. So they would have a minimum amount of money they would have to invest?
Yeah, well, you know, these prices are so high over here.
Sure.
You know, so it's hard to get somebody with 50,000 out, but 100,000 is kind of the smallest.
Sure.
But yeah, so you lend. First of all, we try to do loans. The max loan we'll do is probably 2 years. I do have sources for 7.
Okay.
But 2 is kind of the magic number, and we try to get a minimum of 6 months interest. So as an investor, if you do it for 1 month, you get your money right back. You're like, why did I do this, right?
Right.
So we try to get 6 months, and then after 6 months, and usually most people need it for at least 6. Most, not all.
Okay.
So yeah, so for 6 months, you'll get 10.5%. You're the bank.
Okay.
So every month, the borrower, they have a servicing company that takes care of this. So it's not like you're dealing with the borrower. The borrower
Right.
pays the servicing company.
Right.
Servicing company writes you a check every month. So every month you get, you
get a cash flow from your money that's just
Right.
sitting in a bank account or whatever the case
Yeah.
may be, so you can make some money off of it.
Yeah, so I have investors. That's all they do is private money, and they're pretty wealthy dudes that they lend like 500 million at a time, and they've mastered the industry too. So they're
Nice.
like, when we do a deal, they know what's going on. So together we come up with a, hey, this is a good deal, bad deal type thing.
Nice.
But yeah, so it's a great way to find invest money instead of stock market.
Awesome.
Yeah. What's a good formula for success for the industry? Like, especially with your team, what's a good formula for success?
Yeah, the formula is not to make bad loans.
Right.
And I will tell you, when you do make a bad loan,
Yeah.
it is a nightmare. It takes at least a year to get out of the thing. I
Okay.
did one with a Ponzi scheme that was just incredible. And so the key is finding good loans.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not easy to find good loans. It takes time to build a network and experience. And you have to certainly do your due diligence. But for the most part, people are good.
Right.
And, everybody means well, and they always make their payments, and they may run into problems. But in general, if it's a good loan, you're never going to have a problem with the borrower. It's all just, again, common sense. Credit may have challenges sometimes, but I think we talked about that stuff. But
if they were to, things were to go left or whatever, you guys help with the
Foreclosure?
eviction, foreclosure process and all that?
Yeah.
Okay. So then the person that invested didn't have to worry about that part.
Well, they're the ones, they work with, actually, the servicing company actually handles that.
Awesome.
So the servicing company will, file the notice of default and take it through the process.
Mm.
So, and if you don't know how this works, it's you don't get the property; it goes to auction.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it takes about 120 days, and the investor will get all the interest and payments that
has been
been
sent through the process.
And then the borrower, whatever it sells for, will get the difference.
Okay.
So if you, let's say 200,000, the lender lent 100 and the guy stopped, or woman didn't pay. And we say, I was blaming guys for this.
The borrower.
Yeah. So let's just say the guy, they're owed 120,000. They get the 120. It sells for 150.
Yeah.
So the actual person that was foreclosed on gets the 30,000.
Okay.
So they don't lose it all, but whatever the auction goes for.
So they get the 30, and then they get the interest that is for sitting there.
Well, the investor will get the interest, and whatever it sells for, then the person that is being foreclosed on will get that difference.
Oh, okay, I got you. So it's like
so they
get the overage.
Yeah, they don't get completely wiped out. They will get some money back. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess it's not a total loss for them.
Not total, no. So
interesting.
Yeah. So a lot of people think, oh, you guys foreclose so you can get the property. Now nobody ever gets the property. They don't want the property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I used to lend. That's what I tell people. I'm like, the bank doesn't want your house. They just want you to pay.
Yeah.
Like that's the key. Like make your payments. We don't want to have any foreclosure or anything. Our whole point of doing this is for you to live there and be happy.
Yeah. I will tell you, how banks, man, if you're, boom, there's no fooling around. In the private money world, it's not like that.
Okay.
Because nobody, you want to work with the people. If they've got an issue, just tell us what's going on. It's not like, hey, we're foreclosing the first minute we have a problem. So we may sometimes not take a payment for a month or two.
Until they can get together.
Whatever the situation is, we work it out with them.
Maybe talk about that. How did that affect you during COVID?
What?
Like when COVID happened, they were talking about people weren't going to pay. Did you guys have any issues like that, or did people keep paying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, and the crazy part, where investors were like, as soon as it happened, they're like, hey, I'm not lending anymore. Mm-hmm. And then 2 months later, the market's going through the roof, and everybody's back in lending money.
Right.
But no, we never had any problems.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It is awesome, actually. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, if you think about it, we were scared to walk out and take trash out.
Yeah. I remember going into an AM PM, and some dude had this stick with a basket on the end of it.
Taking the trash
out. It's like the distance from here to here, and he's pulling out this thing. He'd put it in. I think, oh, my God, this is crazy, man.
Crazy time we went through.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What are some of your handles for some of our listeners that would like to contact you or follow you or learn more?
Yeah. Well, I do a lot of my marketing. It's just say if it's on Instagram or whatever. We don't really educate people. If you ever check it out, we do a lot.
For a hard money loan, where can they find you?
Just Google Rancho Ted. That's
Rancho
Ted. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what I always tell people. Google Rancho Ted, and if you see on my bus benches, it doesn't say phone number or anything like that. It's really for branding, and I think now everybody knows to Google something, right? At least I hope so.
Right.
So yeah.
So, do you have any announcements or anything coming up down the pipe that you want to tell the world?
New bus bench coming out. New bus bench, and you may see Rancho Ted what he really looks like.
All right.
Nice. Do you identify certain like zip codes to put your bus benches in, or is just go for what you know?
No, you know what I did? See, the real estate community, I know they're all riding around and checking out properties, and so that's why I thought, why not do the bus bench,
Right.
So one morning I got up at 3 a.m., grabbed a coffee, man, and just started driving around the whole city because nobody was out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, that's a good spot for a bench. That's a good spot for a bench because
if
you do it during the day, it's too much traffic, right?
Right.
So I was having a ball. That's it right there,
Look at that.
Yeah.
So, but no, I do it throughout the whole county. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen the ones downtown.
Yeah.
How many bus benches would you say you have now? Just curious.
50. Yeah.
Nice.
Started off with 1. And then you're like, someday I'll have 2.
Right.
But the thing about bus benches is the more you get, the cheaper it gets.
Nice.
It's pretty expensive when it's 5 or 10. When you start going to the bigger numbers, it just drops. Yeah.
And then
at least they did the deal with me because I did so many.
For the marketing piece to get more business, are you leaning into that more now with the way the market is, or you pulling back on that like a lot of businesses?
Yeah, good question. You know, one of the things I enjoy most is the marketing.
Right.
And like I said, this new bus bench, you know, I'm like, but man, I really like to start doing commercials. You know?
There you go.
And then
see you doing commercials, Ted.
And I won't be doing them. No, I won't be doing them. You will.
There you go.
And what was I gonna say? Yeah, and I even came up with a Rancho Ted
jingle.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's from the band War.
How's it go?
Well, yeah, do you know the song "Cisco Kid Was a Friend of Mine"?
I think
Yes.
so.
So we're just gonna switch. Rancho Ted is a friend of mine.
There you go.
Okay.
So if you listen to the song, we're working on it right now. Let's see.
Okay.
We'll just be honest with you, it's just fun. That's all. You know.
Is Polly helping you with this?
Oh, Paulie helps everything. To be honest with you, Paulie's the brains. I may come up with a few ideas, but when you see stuff on Facebook or LinkedIn, I wake up that same day and I'm like, oh boy.
Nice.
Next thing you know, I'm a Beatle or whatever I am. He's got me on. But yeah,
So he has fun with it.
Oh yeah, it's fun. We've been doing it for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he, yeah, it's.
I gotta meet Polly. I don't think I met him before.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's a good guy to have on your podcast because he designs. He's an architect and designs buildings throughout San Diego and Northern Cal, actually around the country now. He's going to Miami.
Wow.
But he's a guy to.
A future guest.
I think so, yeah, because he's from Australia.
Okay.
So he's got that accent and super intelligent.
So you got his Australian accent. You got your Boston accent.
Well, one of the things I did, one of the best moves he ever made was listening to me when I met him in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know how these people think that wearing a Yankee hat is cool. I said, listen, brother. I said, listen, first thing you're going to do is be a Boston fan. And he goes, all right, mate, I am.
There you go.
So the next thing you know, the dude's winning national championships left and right.
He loves them.
Yeah, it took us 86 years to win a World Series. He got here in 2005. It took him 2 years. And he won, 5 Super Bowls.
Sounds like he's just a lucky guy.
So I'll have him wear some of his Red Sox gear when he comes. But I think it's a good idea, man. I think you should. I'll tell him about it.
We got one non-business question. Are the Patriots going to win a Super Bowl this year?
Well, as we know, we don't know. But as long as the Jets don't, that's my biggest. That's my Super Bowl.
Yeah, we got a bet. We're betting that the Jets will go further than New England.
Oh,
and
wow.
I think the Jets could actually represent the AFC.
The California burritos on the line.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you heard it here at Knowledge of Currency.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
burritos on the line.
Yeah.
So-
it's our thing. Me and him always have a football bet every year.
Yep.
Yep, for
And
sure.
he always wins, but
Okay.
this is one year I don't want him to win.
That's good stuff. Yeah, I'm excited for the season as well. And growing up, the Patriots were my team.
Oh,
Really?
So look at that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
and where are you from? From here, right?
San Diego, born and raised.
And yeah. So you know how he ended up out here is back in the late 70s.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know how people live in the cold, brother.
Yeah.
As you know.
Yeah.
But I used to see the Chargers on TV all the time. You know, it's 4 o'clock back there. It's 1 o'clock here. Shorts, T-shirts, and I'm like, man, why do people live here? Why don't you,
Yeah.
So I was California dreaming
Long time ago.
and watching the Chargers, man, they were so much fun to watch, man. I loved them.
Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of bummed the way it all ended here, but yeah, that's one of the reasons I ended up out here was through the Chargers. You know,
That's
Look at
crazy.
that.
I
Football.
didn't even visit. I just drove here. I finished college
Yeah.
with 2 buddies, jumped in a car, and landed in Mission Beach. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is like an extension of college, you know?
Right.
It was crazy back then.
And
And
now you're all the way in Alpine.
yeah, now I'm in Alpine. Yeah,
That's a big change.
that's a hell of a change.
Well, I want to tell you, Ted, this is the 50th episode. I'm glad that you
Absolutely.
were the 50th
Appreciate it.
episode, and This is a milestone for us. We wish you nothing but the best, and definitely appreciate you being on the show.
Well,
Got any party?
Rancho Ted, I want to thank you very much. I'm looking forward to your new bus bench.
yeah, man.
More.
And let me tell you,
Go ahead.
you're going to be driving by and go, oh, my God, what has he done now? And I'm going, oh, my God, I hope people like it.
But if you need hard money lending, you can talk to Rancho Ted, or if you're looking to invest, talk to Rancho Ted. And that's, in the words of Dr. Dre, just chill till the next episode, and that's a wrap. Knowledge to Currency, episode 50.